one of their big stars in Santorin. So many changes all at once. Can the team rally? Can the team look to disprove some of the doubters and some of the haters here in this league and really look good right out the gates? Or can EG kind of prey on a team that has been looking a bit weaker?
Well, we do know EG, depends on which EG shows up. Thankfully for them last week, definitely the good side of EG showed up. As Armeo, as you are not seeing things, is on stage once again for TL in place of Santorin currently, who, as the desk said, is going through some health stuff right now.
And when we saw Armeo last, he was great in the finals. You know, they did push C9 to 5 games in spring at the midseason showdown. So that was a really good performance from him, and TL is going to need that. You know, Jenkins has been performing at a good level, not maybe to Alphari standard that he had set, but now you've lost your jungler as well, so your whole top side of the map is changed out, and you need to see these guys performing at a very high level to be able to compete here. Svenskeren, former MVP, obviously, jungler. Impact has been really good in the top lane for so long, and very likely will be going up against this Lee Sin. Of course, it is a flex, but almost all teams are prioritizing it up towards that top side.
All right, well, this is starting to become pretty common on the red side, especially. Pretty much have to ban Lulu and Karma if you don't want to let them through, so EG banned both of them alongside Varus, where it's Nocturne, Lucian, Viego on the TL side. First pick Lee Sin keeps them nice and flexible. Probably one of the best first picks you can grab in any draft right now. And I really love this, actually. Danny's Senna has been really impressive to me. Not just his individual play, but I think this is the kind of champion that fits this team to a T, because their top side just wants to go off. Even Ignar wants to engage every single fight. So Danny enables all of that by picking Senna.
Yeah, I mean, having the ultimate for cross-map situations, you don't necessarily have to be there. You can be down on the bottom side, farming it out, assist on these scrappy fights across the map here. Senna almost always wants to be paired up with TK, so I would be really interested to see, is TL willing to go to something like, you know, alongside those types of compositions? Varus has been taken away, that's a common one, but like Jinx Tahm Kench or something along those lines to try to deny the most common pairing. They don't have to do that, and in fact, they won't. It is going to be Gwen, which does lead me to believe that Lee Sin will be getting flexed around. Gwen can be played jungle herself, also can be played mid lane, so TL going with a little bit of kind of confusion here in the draft, not allowing EG to know exactly where these picks will be landing. Of course, Ezreal should be played bot. We did see the one game of it mid from Yasui, but I think this is very safe to say that it is going to be Ezreal bot for tactical, and they're looking to draft fairly aggressive lanes, fairly proactive lanes, and generally you do pair that alongside, either a Karma to really try to hard bully the Tahm Kench if that's going to be the pairing and try to deny the farm from him, or you're just going to look to get out of that lane, allow the Ezreal to farm it up, and try to go for a roaming pick.
All right, well, Xin is the last pick there for EG, so we'll head into Phase 2 now and see what bans are upon us. This does give TL the opportunity to take away the Tahm Kench if they don't want Ignar to have that, but we've seen Ignar play, I think, Galio in these kind of lanes as well. One of the advantages is you do unlock the ability to farm for your support. So there are some options, although I think I agree with you, TK is the most common and likely one of the best.
I mean, by a factor of 10 or more in pro play, right? It's pretty much always that. Senna Cho has been a pairing that we have seen. Senna Heimer has actually been a pairing that we have seen.
Rumble.
You know, so there are different ones, but pretty much it's generally Senna TK. Whether or not TL is worried about it remains to be seen. EG is more concerned about the roaming style. You know, I said it's kind of one way or the other. They've also banned out 2 enchanters early, so maybe they feel that TL wouldn't go to another one besides the Karma or the Lulu. So potentially 4 picks being banned away there from Core JJ. Of course, a couple of them are flexes. Braum has been really gaining in popularity as a pick that is so good into these heavy melee comps, right? So many people are drafting 4 melee, run at you, stack up, dive the backline. Braum denies that incredibly well, and that's why we're seeing, you know, his popularity, both in picks and bans, rising.
All right, well, what's the pick here for EG? We did have 2 Jizuke champions banned by TL, so LeBlanc and Ryze not let into this game either. Zoe perfectly good here, and it's going to be Galio instead. EG with the bait.
Dive. Yep. Will it be Ignar, or will it be for Jizuke mid? Ignar. This feels way more like Ignar to me, and I think it makes sense to leave your Jizuke pick for last. They want him to be playing with pressure. They want him to be playing with priority here. I am expecting this still to be, you know, a solo lane Lee Sin, but there is the possibility of that being flexed towards jungle, and Seraphine would work as another enchanter support. You know, I mentioned the kind of 2 schools of thought here. If you want to go towards bullying the farmer or not. Sejuani coming through. This is really interesting because Sejuani is actually gaining some popularity in top lane also. So, normally you
Oh.
wouldn't think about it as a flex, but you still really do have the potential of flexing everything around. For now, we will assume that it is Sejuani top, Sejuani jungle, Lee Sin top, maybe Gwen mid, but there is flexibility just based on matchup, so you can move things around a lot here. And with TK coming through potentially, that would be a denial. So now, is it going to be, that Galio Senna? Are they going to move that around and try to pick something to maybe push in and bully that Ezreal lane? Because you could go fairly aggressive here. The early laning of Ezreal NTK is extremely weak. So if you want to go with a range support yourself, you really do have the ability to kind of pressure and bully out this lane.
All right, we'll see what happens here. Nico, something we haven't seen in a bit, but this is definitely an EG champion.
Yeah, and it's weird because we've actually seen Nico support too. So there's so many possibilities on flex, but I am going to assume that it is, Nico mid for Jizuke. It would be Ignar. Whether or not he will farm remains to be seen on the Galio. You can just play the more standard style where it is actually just ADC Senna. That really has fallen out of popularity. So I'm expecting a farming Galio here. Tahm Kench make things pretty difficult, but there is such an abundance of dive that it can be one of those situations where you gobble someone up to try to save them, but all of a sudden Xin is on top of you. The Galio ult is coming in, Nico's ult is coming through. There's so many tools to really kind of just pile in. And it will be Gwen top, so Lee Sin mid, Sejuani jungle. Sejuani going to be having really good pairings with both the solo laners. They are both melee, so you can stack up that Permafrost passive very, very quickly. The E stacks to be able to pop that stun. And we always talked about those kind of pairings with Aurelia and Renekton traditionally. Works really well with Gwen and Lee Sin. Good early scrappers here too. And though Xin and Renekton are really powerful in their own right, this is a potentially winnable 2v2.
Yeah, as a reminder, Ameo is fresh off Academy this week. He's playing a marathon this week. And Team Liquid Academy have been playing Sejuani plus Viego. Actually, has been one of the things they're piloting a lot this week. So, as you mentioned, definitely some overlap there, empowering the Gwen, much like the Aurelia Sejuani of old. Nice and disruptive with lots of melee champions in the meta as well. So, it does feel like Sejuani's time to move her way back into the meta may be arriving. Unfortunately, didn't go for the Swain bot lane. That's the other TLA special with that comp.
I mean, Swain is great at counter engage. When you are playing against these multi-melee comps, Sejuani can have a lot of power too. I think people are starting to kind of adjust and adapt to some of these comps. When you look over at TL, they've got 4 melee, right? And if you are trying to dive as TL into the backline, well, the counter engage of a Nico ultimate can be potentially very powerful. If you grab a zone use, you can't be burst down, you pop the Pop Blossom, go into the stasis, Galio for the AoE taunt as well. Things can be pretty difficult to dive past these champions. And it's going to be pretty interesting as Jenkins is going E level 1. Of course, he won't get the auto reset, so it will be a longer cooldown, but he's going to look for the full wraparound here. And if they wait this out, very likely he'll get the flash off Svenskeren because Jenkins will be coming now.
There he is. They flash in. Kodo J, tongue lash in. Jenkins, empowered up already. One more auto needed. Stun, not going to connect just yet. They flash in for it. And there's First Blood TLA with a beautiful planning.
Man, I gotta say though, where's the flash, Svenskeren?
It's right there.
I mean, that is you had some time. I was gonna be critical even of not flashing the tongue lash. When they're going for that, it's clearly a hard commit. Tahm gets flashed to actually slow you with the Q. Even then, he could have flashed later, but the Sejuani stacks are up. They flash in to actually finish off that kill. So yes, they get the ignite. They get 2 flashes. He does save his. And will be out in time for the respawn, so maybe his read was he was already dead. I tend to disagree. Now top lane is kind of screwed a little bit here as you gave away that free first blood to Gwen. So we can watch this one more time. Really smart pathing from Jenkins. This is very similar to some of the old school pathing you used to see with Gragas, where he'd level body slam, go over the wall. We've seen this done with Shen as well. So good timing on the wraparound here. But when it's a level 1 and they're clearly hard committing to it with a flash, you just need to respect it. You need to go for the flash, but instead he waits far too long. The Sejuani passive is fully stacked up. Armeo just flashes in to pop that E to get that range, and they do get the finish off. They get the kill, and Gwen going to be starting with first blood. So Impact, who generally will be getting outscaled in this type of a matchup, is now going to be put on the back foot right from the word go.
Kodo J already getting aggressive here in the bottom side of the map. Tongue Crunch is very good at battling other melee supports. So Tactical feeling pretty good there in the 2v2. Jizuke trying to get some damage done onto Jensen. Definitely Nico can be kind of a bully into a lot of these melee champions. So maybe a champion other people will consider, but definitely something Jizuke has history with in the past.
And it's kind of one of those things where, can you hit the certain threshold where all of a sudden Lee Sin, is really getting pushed off the farm? Because for now, getting shoved in isn't going to be that big of a deal, but Lee Sin has so much sustain. Doran shield start. You have the safeguard for the spell vamp on that. Just max E, push out these waves. So we'll see what Jizuke can get done with his pressure. And it is going to just be the less standard. I mentioned it in draft, but it is the farming Senna. So this is not the fasting Senna style where, Senna is going for the support item and the Tahm Kench farms alongside her. It's just Galio with a support item. This is just an ADC Senna, which does mean that your soul stacking is generally really slowed down. It takes a lot longer to actually get this. This was changed long ago that you kind of get a lot less souls from the minions you're actually killing, which is why people started doing more of the fasting Senna, just be able to farm through in the lane. Of course, against Tahm Kench, there are opportunities to kind of poke away because Tahm Kench isn't exactly a dangerous engage style champion, so anytime he steps forward, you can go for the Q auto.
At it again, Jensen here, but Svenskeren popping out of the shrubbery. Jensen, see you later. It's Svenskeren that finds the kill, and Ameo will get out, but really nice counter gank there by Sven.
Yeah, Svenskeren just absolutely having them downloaded. And Jensen went really aggressive for that. Flashed in for the E, which would reveal on the clone. And he just hard committed to it. Armeo didn't have his flash to follow up. That was committed level 1. So Jensen just going too far forward there. And now that he's died, he was actually losing farm while that was happening. So that is a really punishing death. Not only does Svenskeren get a kill, but look at the farm, right? Like that is pretty problematic because instead of just trying to pick up that CS at the tower, they went for the kill. And he ended up dying for it.
All right, well, back down to the bottom side. It's looking pretty even, so Ameo going to have to go ahead and finish clearing through his jungle. Top side, Jenkins, with that early first blood, did by a Brute, but Crystal, he had this in the lane. Of course, they haven't recalled yet, so Jenkins still has that advantage. Also has Ignite back and Ameo near his lane, so Impact is going to have to play with some respect here. It is very tricky up against a Gwen with Ignite.
Absolutely. You've got to really respect those all-ins. The root lands, and when the root lands, you get all the ticks of the Q there from the Nico. So, good little bit of trading, but he is out of mana. He's got to get back to base, get his reset off and look for the TP. We'll see how much money he does have. Did start Dark Seal, so I'm wondering if he's going to heavily invest into the laning items. This is something that Jizuke has really done a lot in the past with Doran's Ring, Corrupting Potion, just really kind of stacking up the early game items for lane dominance. Does go Doran's Ring, but then it will just be Boots and an Amp Tome, and looking to kind of scale it up. Armeo spotted by a really nice ward.
Yeah, although he's actually going to get in there pretty early. Ignore the target, but Danny puts the mist up already. Now the counter TP is in from EG. Ignore flashing in, looking for the taunt, finds 2. The heals are coming through on center, but now into the alcove he goes. Counter TP there from Jenkins. Armeo low, but not dead just yet. Core JJ finds the late devour. Svenskeren trying to get out of there as Impact's ignited. Pops his ulti. No one's dead. My goodness, it's a party, but everyone's going home.
Yeah, a lot of action down in that bottom lane. It looked like EG were going for kind of an angle on the bait there, trying to get Armeo to hard commit. I mean, they had him warded out. They didn't back off, so they wanted to TP. Jensen got to be a bit careful here.
Jensen level 6 was feeling it, but no energy there. Now getting flashed on. Jensen, oh no! Solo killed by Nico.
The outplay from Jizuke there. Not afraid to go for it. Jensen hit 6 first, so he went back in knowing if he hit the Q, he could take the Q and just go Q ult and get the pretty much straight up execute. But Jizuke gets a kill of his own, flashing in, taking him down, ults to push out the wave. And mid lane will go from bad to worse as Jensen doesn't have TP, so the wave's going to be reset. Jizuke gets a free base. We can watch this one more time. Both players level 5. Jensen hard shoving to get 6 here, and as soon as he gets 6, he ward ups back in. Nice sidestep from Jizuke because, again, if that lands, you get ulted, you are dead. Jizuke, though, finding the angle. There was no safeguard available. Flashing in, landing the root. Empowered auto plus the Q takes down Jensen. And mid lane going great for EG.
Yeah, looking good right now. Jizuke up 2+ waves at this point. His top side, Ameo is ready with the ultimate here. It's level 6 for both top and jungle on the TL side. Jensen also roaming up because he has understandably had enough of the 1v1 in mid lane. But looks like, oh, I take it all back. He's going in for more. Jizuke the target, Ameo here as well, but that's the right one. Jensen's found it now. Ameo not in range for the ulti just yet, but in power as he goes. Flash ulti, what it! Shot there from Armeo, and Jensen's gonna get revenge.
Sejuani mechanics, baby. Q flash ulti. Armeo nailing it there on the Sejuani, catching out Jizuke. That was the hard commit to the play, and I mean, they wanted to get one back for Jensen so bad. Mid lane has been going awful for him. from the early push to the counter gank, then the solo kill, so they really needed that one. It's going to even out the lane a lot. I mean, that's a good 10 minions that will now be going down. That will not be answered by Jizuke. He doesn't have TP. That's going to then push back towards Jensen. So completely changes how that lane is going. That is a big-time play from Armeo.
Yeah, Armeo, I mean, sounds like a joke, but it's really not. This man has a lot of Sejuani games under his belt.
I mean,
very good on the champion.
Is always a bit of a meme, but
of course.
That's as good as you can
But he
really
actually has
do there.
Sejuani mechanics. That's the point.
I mean, that's the thing with Armeo. I think people don't give him enough credit. He's kind of looked at, from his TSM days as like, he's just like the tank guy. He's doesn't really have good hands, but he's up near the top of the ladder on solo queue all the time. Like, this is a guy who does have good mechanics. He has been more in those supportive roles, but he can make it happen, and nice to see him coming on a stage here and playing with that confidence.
Look, if you have anything good or bad to say about Armeo, I can tell you can go at TL Spawn over on Twitter. His coach will happily
Spawn will fight you
on the internet. Definitely a big fan of this player. And again, it's someone that has shown up for TL in the past. So excited to see him working well with Jensen early on here in this game. Svenskeren, though, for EG. Going to go ahead and start off this Rift Herald.
Thing is, you can't always trust Spawn's opinion on junglers because he thinks he's a good jungler.
That's true.
That's just, woo. All right, so going up towards this Rift Herald, EG starting it out. Ignar on the roam. He's not 6 yet, but looks like this one will not be contested very likely. But the gold going more and more the way of TL, largely through these kind of advantages that they are accruing through the jungle plays, through some of the farm advantages that they have gotten. You can see Frostfire Gauntlet already completed here now for Sejuani. The additional slow on top of the W slow really does make the sticking power even harder for Sejuani. And you get knocked up by the Q, then you're slow by an auto, slow by the W again, locked up by the ulti. There is a lot of control coming out from this champion. And because there are 3 different melee champions on his team, it's so easy to quickly stack up the passive against the other melee champs on the side of EG.
Well, top lane here. Impact's actually done a really good job keeping this lane nice, and even Jenkins hasn't been able to use his early advantage from the first blood to really get much done. Jizuke with a good sidestep as well, as KoJJ is roaming up, and TL may be looking for this dragon here.
And I agree with you. I think the Impact has done a good job to keep parity because of the first blood. But the tough part is always when you're playing against a champion that scales better than you do, and the best you can do is keep parity, right? Because he would have loved to probably attack that lane, to bring up the Zen, to go aggressive, punish this flashless Jenkins, but instead, he couldn't, because the first blood was given over to his opponent, and he kind of just was forced into this just farm it out style pattern. And now Gwen already has the Leeching Leer, will be working towards that mythic pretty quickly, where it becomes so difficult to actually deal with.
Conqueror doing some work there for Impact, but Jenkins going to get the wave pushed in, or at least attempt to. Impact says, nope, I'll just hold the wave right here, thank you very much.
He is really good with his wave manipulation, and that's something you'll find from pretty much every top laner that is ever described as like a good weak side top laner, is that they know how to handle the minion waves very, very well, and that's often how you minimize loss.
In we go once more. Jizuke is going to get spotted here. Pop Blossom popped. Ulti there. Root's only one. Senna ulti going to try and save his Svenskeren. Looks for the counter attack. Jensen, though, is going to protect his jungler, and everyone's going to walk away.
And I've got to give some credit to Jizuke. He's been pretty clever with the clones, throwing them out in interesting angles there, trying to actually bait his opponent into chasing after those. Of course, much more difficult when you're playing against Lee Sin, who can reveal with the fight on this top side, though. No mana.
Jenkins getting all in by Impact. The ulti's probably not going to save you, Gwen. Impact looking to make it happen. Solo flashes in, spins around the Q, and that'll be a solo kill for Impact.
You got no mana, Jenkins. He's coming for you.
Ooh.
Die.
The revenge of the TLA jungler. He's played with Jenkins for a long time, so Amea's going to try and make him pay. Svenskeren here. Ulti, not enough damage. And now Svenskeren going to turn it back around. No flash either. This looks real bad for Sedge, but Amea's going to be okay.
Yep, going to be able to reset this. So again, Svenskeren, nice cover. Armeo getting there a little bit too late. There is TP on Jenkins, but I don't think they're going to go for anything too crazy down there.
Danny is just getting aggressive here on the center. Does have pickaxe, 2 longswords as KoJJ tries to defend. Farm is ahead, though, for Tactical. Remember, we are actually measuring the marksman in this particular case, as they are both farming it out, and Danny has been a little bit behind, but lane's been mostly about the back and forth and the farming, and I think they'll be happy with where they are right now. Jensen on the other side. Back to the situation he didn't want to be in, which is Nico constantly pushing you in, as Tactical with the skill shots gets Danny low once again. We've seen this a couple times every time we've come down here, but
I like that angle. He kind of just goes into river and actually shoots the ulti from the river brush over the wall there. because you basically can't see it until it comes past this line, right? You know, that's kind of that line of vision where you have much less time to react from that. So pretty clever play here. Just walks into the brush, shoots the ulti over the wall, and able to actually poke them out. And then while returning the lane, he actually hit another Q on a Danny, and that pretty much took him straight from full to half. So, you know, finding these clever angles, often you're using the ulti early game more just for poke, for pressure. And this is pretty nice stuff there from Tactical, something that you can easily pull into your own games.
All right, well, Jensen is going to dispatch the Rift Herald here, but as a result of that bot lane play you mentioned, and TL just feeling like they've got more than enough prior here, they are going to grab that first dragon. Pretty late, though. 13 minutes is definitely not going to be a fast soul by any means, but Team Liquid will still be happy to have picked up the objective, although EG will also be happy with the gold lead that's helping them out, thanks to the Rift Herald Svenska and dropped in mid lane that took most of the plates off. There's one left, or half of one left, I think, at this point.
And it'll be interesting to see if priority does drop on dragons now that we know that it's not going to be Infernal or Ocean Soul. You know, those are the two that most pro teams are really keen to fight for. Mountain and Cloud, I think, are very good as well, but they're just not as popular at the pro level. So I don't know if we're going to see much dragon priority here unless one team just thinks they can hit it.
Jensen, kick. Oh, now
nice
gets the
cancel.
reveal. And Jizuke's still there, but Ameo's going to follow up. There's the kick out of Jensen. Flash kicks Jizuke in, and that damage should be enough. Center shield are going to maybe save Jizuke. The double root. Not enough to save him, but will it get the trade on Ameo low? But Safeguard and Core JJ is once again there to save the day. That's a kill for TL.
Man, Jizuke played that so well, though. That was honestly really impressive. He actually got the animation cancel on the Lee Sin ult, using his W to untarget there to cancel the initial Lee Sin kick. A good kick flash in from Jensen was very impressive, but then the sidesteps there, the double root under the tower. Jenkins getting rushed down.
Once again, oh, here comes Galio. Bad time here for Gwen. No flash, 3v1. No hope there for Jenkins. Who's going to get the kill? It will be Svenskeren coming up to take it.
Yeah, he got impact fairly low and was actually 2 levels down when that fight started. So, you know, relatively close. Did hit level 10 during it, but that is kind of concerning. You know, he's getting picked on a bit here now. Multiple kills up towards that top side in a row. And this is going to give EG some control. They are trying to turn that into a potential blue buff, but with more coming over here, you know, Ezreal has first move. Senna is cut off, and Jizuke doesn't have TP, so I don't think this is a fight you should be looking for, EG.
All right, well, Ameo should be able to finish off this blue buff. Looks like at this point, he's just going to take it. Jensen, not there, doesn't really need it. Decent on Sedge, and again, the experience in the gold is nice for any jungler. It looks like Jensen right now is 1v1ing the Nico that has made their way to the bottom lane. Jizuke is currently hiding out there. And looks like the duo lanes have swapped here to mid as Tactical and Core have the business of defending the very low health mid tower we saw just a moment ago.
Going to be just moving in there, pushing out those solo laners to the side lanes. Really interested to see how many stacks Danny actually has at this point, you know, given that he was playing the farming Senna. So we'll see if they do get us a click over onto the Senna. 31, so not bad. Definitely behind the pace that you would expect from that support, but it is all right. It's just kind of one of the major downsides of playing this as the ADC is those range upgrades come through a lot more slowly. The bonus AD that you're getting from that as well is going to come through a lot more slowly. I would say the upside is that income is a lot more reliable in the mid game. You know, generally once you cash out your support item as that kind of fasting Senna, your gold really then becomes super reliant on actually getting kills in team fights. Whereas of course, just as a standard marksman, you just keep farming.
All right, well, looks like teams don't want to let go of that mid tower anytime soon, but the second Rift Herald did go over to Team Liquid. So perhaps a way to break open that section of the map, if that's what they're interested in here. For now, a lot of roaming around, lots of different back and forth around these objectives. Looks like Dragon is in the interest of both parties here. EG currently winning the vision war as Jizuke and Igna are invading to at least get some vision down, and Jizuke actually going to go ahead and take most of the Raptors, but Ameo gets the important one, smiting down the big one.
You can see that it is going to be Everfrost here from Jizuke. Again, great option, not only because of the ability to actually combo that with their roots, but because it's 4 melee. Anytime you're playing against all these champions that want to dive in towards you, the self-peel, the lockdown just becomes that much more valuable. So it is a really, really nice item here for Nico. Going to be interested to see if Jizuke does go towards Azonia's second to try to be able to play more aggressively in that front line without the risk of just being burst down during that Pop Blossom, or if he wants to go for kind of more of a high DPS type look here.
If I had to guess, I would say the item that lets him play most aggressively feels like the Jizuke item, but
you can see both sides,
that's
right?
True.
Maybe he's crazy enough. He's like, I don't need it, Death Cap, baby. You're not taking me down.
That does do more damage.
It
does have a point.
Yeah.
Oh, Jensen getting caught out here, Svenskeren, but again, Lee Sin is so hard to pinned down there as Jensen Ward hops away to safety. Herald's dropped mid here, but Danny is currently contending with Shelly. And those creeps are in the way, so TL going to have to make this happen, but Tactical gets rooted. They're going to have to back up here, and that Herald's just dead. Jizuke now looking for the play,
that ain't it.
but doesn't find it. TP now is coming through. Everfrost trying to disengage. Penscaron looking to go back in, but here comes Jenkins. Galio ulti out, but it's not enough to save Jizuke. And now Ignar looking pretty dead in the front lines as well. They're going to try and chase as Penscaron gets knocked up and shut down by Jensen. It's TL that find two.
Yeah, and that was a big overforce there from Jizuke. As TL had already expended the Sejuani ulti, they basically got that for free. You had killed off the Herald without even allowing it to get a charge. Take that win, back it up, play it a little bit more slowly. If you then get your battle lines established, you get mid control, you go over to the dragon, look to challenge for that. Instead, it's an overchase, and I mean, the Jizuke ultimate whiffed on everyone, but even if it connected with someone, it was going to be Armeo, and Armeo only. And once that missed,
goodbye, Jensen. He has been caught. He's not going to live. Danny with the shutdown there. Nice bit of bonus gold given over to the center, but a worthy sacrifice for mid tower and the second dragon.
Yeah.
A necessary one.
Question is, did he need to sacrifice? It's like, I died for you guys. There was no reason he needed to be there. I died for you guys. Making space. All right, let's watch this one more time. So at this point, I'm like, great, you killed the Herald. Ignar's fine in the ulti, so why are you chasing forward? You know, the carries aren't anywhere near you. You know, maybe you're hoping to actually hit the double front line, but still, the ability to follow up is very limited there. And he also used the clone to actually go forward to look for the play, so he doesn't have that to retreat, doesn't have a stopwatch at that point either. So TL just pile in, they bring in the TP there from the top lane. Gwen arrives, Jizuke knows he messed up on this one. Does give over a bit of a freebie. It means they get the follow-up dragon, so they're now 2 dragons to 0. Thankfully for them, Jensen was a little bit of a generous mood himself, gave a kill back.
Just, you know, relearning the Lee Sin mechanics, seeing what he can get away with. That was not one of them. Lee Sin's pretty mobile, but not that mobile. Jensen, as Team Liquid, will be able to regroup pretty happily here. Not down too much. It's maybe, what, 600 gold up for EG right now, so very close through pretty much the first 20 minutes of this game. TL will have the, I guess, first right to the Dragon Soul because they are stacking it somewhat quickly, and it does feel like this game is going to definitely, you know, go long enough that we'll get to the Soul at a decent spot, but it's not an emergency right now to be stopping that. EG can continue to play their game here and try and line everybody up so this Nico in the center can kind of start going off in team fights.
Absolutely. Well, the question will be, can TL get that next one? Because if they do get that third dragon, yeah, Soul is really on the table. If EG just take even one to delay, it does slow things down significantly. There's a little bit of a swing and a miss there, but nice bit of poke on Svenskarren. EG just trying to play through mid lane, maintain control of their jungle here, and TL fighting more and more for that. The Mountain Dragon would be pretty nice, as there is kind of a lot of upfront burst when you're looking at things like the Renekton, the Xin, you know, even Jizuke coming through. These are very bursty champions that generally want to get a kill early on in the fight, then snowball forward through it. So Mountain Shield would be really effective, especially when you're looking at Ezreal, who's already so evasive, is likely going to build into Frozen Heart third, become very tanky. When you have a Tahm Kench behind you, Guardian Exhaust, then Mountain Soul, it becomes almost impossible.
Yeah, tried to catch on Mayo there, giving a thumbs up instead as he queues through the wall and gets away from Ignar's incoming ulti. Ezreal is interesting here. It does feel kind of tricky for EG to kill Ezreal. Right, because it's just Jizuke that's going to have the majority of the upfront damage available, right? Because, as you said, Ezreal can easily build Frozen Heart in this spot. Svenskarren, he's okay. Does have to pop the ulti, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? And that's why, as these kind of comps, you're often relying on flanks, right? It's got to be Renekton coming in behind you. You need to force out the early Devour. All of a sudden, there's now the Galio ult. There's the Jizuke ultimate coming through. Has to be multiple forms of engage, and most importantly, multiple angles. You can't just walk through TL's composition towards the Ezreal. That just is never going to happen. So we will see TL in darkness here, trying to potentially look for a dive, but a lot of EG members are up towards this top side.
It's like a 4v4 between two turrets. It's a bit different. Usually it's, you know, around the Baron Pit or something, but TL just hanging out, trying to maybe get some damage done in the siege. Jenkins is also pushing mid, so they do have some pressure here in another lane. But Jensen's going to have to be careful not to get caught. Again, Lee Sin pretty tough to pin down, especially with plenty of allies to safeguard too. So it is just Tactical trying to poke them out. Everfrost is a very nice looking angle there for Jizuke, but again, no follow-up there. Cordoje was right next to him, so very tough to kill Tactical, even though he's running out of mana.
Yep, is getting a little bit low on mana, but being pretty annoying at this point. We will see if he's going to be building towards that Frozen Heart. Is the expected build.
Ooh.
Pretty much everyone going for it these days.
Wrong
Jenkins, meanwhile, though, as everyone's scrapping on the top side, Danny is just farming mid, but Jenkins is stealing away their jungle, and that is kind of the more important part, you know, stealing away resources from your enemy. He can go down now to the scuttle, pick up the farm as it's pushing in towards him, so that's going to be pretty nice. You can see Danny there was up just above 50 souls, so slowly increasing, but hasn't been that scrappy of a game for him. So, you know, the souls really don't feel like a major win condition here.
Mayo in a 1v3 is going to be forced to flash there as Ignar was charging up the taunt. Ulti also committed there onto Svenskeren, so with 30 seconds left for this dragon, a couple of cooldowns lost here as Impact is trying to fight for this crab. Does get smoked by TL though.
Yeah, and Jizuke is just now basing. He was actually finishing off a camp, so you're hoping, if you are EG, that he has Zonius or at least some sort of a significant buy here to be ready for this fight, because his base was delayed and it cost them river control. Jensen is on a potential flank here. You can see him up on the top side looking for an angle, and EG is going to have a tough time filtering through.
Tactical, whoa, poking in, devoured there for CoreJJ, but the rest of the team's piling in. Tactical with a great flash over the little wall. There is Jizuke trying to find the Pop Blossom kill. CoreJJ will be left as a sacrifice, but Jensen has found the flank, but still does flash out of there as Tactical slain Jizuke. And now the Ezreal ulti's coming in. Tactical's just trying to live and will not live through Impact incoming as Jensen and Armeo teamed up for Svenskeren. Jenkins now going to dance back in. But it looks like Jensen a little too low. I take it back. He executes Ignar TL. It's just so scrappy, but here we go. Jenkins on Mayo teaming up to try and make it happen. Jenkins gonna find one, and Danny will be left for dead.
Oh!
What a snipe there by Danny with the Q, and Jenkins, I don't know if you can catch a center, but he's surely gonna try. There we go. There's the E, and that should be it. Danny with a great juke. Over the top he goes, now living, but no, it's not enough. It's Jenkins that'll find the shutdown and eventually the ace.
Danny just about broke his ankles there, but Jenkins cleans him up in the end. The mechanics there, though, from Danny, juking down, then sidestepping back up to actually sidestep the Gwen Q, knowing the dash was down. The Q through the soul to actually pick up the kill.
That's what it was.
I believe it was. Over onto Armeo. We can watch this again. The Bud Light ace. The initial fight looks like it's going to be really good as the dash in onto Tactical, the root from Danny setting it up, and then everyone flashing in. A good flash angle from Tactical, though, flashing down away from everyone who had piled in onto him. Makes him last a really long time. And then Jizuke clearly did not have the Zonias, having gone back to base, so he's separated from the team, does get taken down. Impact, though, filtered into that back line, is able to clean him up. And then this is where you're thinking, all right, they probably got this, but this is a very tanky TL. The Safeguard, the Gore Drinker comes through, Danny kiting down, you know, going for Armeo here, and with Gwen in his face, he kind of has to play this safe. So he's kiting back, hits the W, and then lines up the Q through the soul.
So sick.
That is nice. And then again here, yes, Jenkins is going to win out on this. You know, he has the additional move speed from the Scuttle Crab. That was actually critical, but look at this. Jukes down, steps up, dodges the Q, and just about had the 1v1. It got close. Well played to TL. They win a very scrappy fight in the end. But when you see those kind of fights, and oh my god, that damage. This damage right here, 7,000. That's a lot, and that's the kind of stuff you want to see from a young marksman player. The mechanics. You want to see the outplays. You want to see the confidence coming through from them. And EG have got to be sitting backstage watching that and smiling.
Clearly invested in the correct player there, because Danny may be set up here as the game goes later. Again, it's a pretty key piece of how this comp works, right? Your team wants to rush in, get aggressive. Senna kind of helps piece that all together, which again, on this kind of team, it does feel like you need. Yeah. Team Liquid, though, feels so solid here with the Sedge getting tankier. Gwen now with the Zonya, so 2 items and counting now for Jenkins, who is going to be a constant threat in the side lane this game.
Absolutely. I mean, as excited as I was about how Danny played out that fight, TL got Dragon, TL got the ace, TL are on Soul Point. They're the ones with the gold lead. They are the ones in control of this game. Tactical, we saw how difficult he was to take down, and he kind of messed up. He got caught by the root. He got hit by the Xin Zhao E immediately to start that fight, and did flash out. Really good flash angle, kind of kited that out well. But it's just going to get harder and harder for EG to actually take him down. With a mostly physical comp, he is building towards that, the Frozen Heart. He's going to be really difficult to actually access. And with flashes down for all of these frontliners for EG, like they need that more than Ezreal needs his, because he has the shift, because he has the Tahm Kench and the exhaust and all these tools to really keep him safe. So I think Tactical is well set up to carry this game. And Gwen getting pretty strong herself off the back of that. It is the Cosmic Drive here. Yep, Cosmic Drive, excuse me, for Jizuke. So he did not go towards the Zonias. More about the ability haste, more about the movement here. It is a riskier option. Of course, you know, he's having trouble actually closing to the backline, and that may be why he's prioritizing this. You know, having the additional move speed, having that really low CDR to try to look for more plays. But without a stopwatch, it really does feel like a one-way trip. Because TL has done a great job of actually kiting back from Jizuke, and then as soon as the ult goes off, re-engage, and he just dies.
Yeah, Nico is a pretty short-range champion, actually, right? Her route through minions is kind of her longest ability. Does have a stopwatch now, though, so clearly heard you and is ready for the next encounter. Is going to need it, though, because it's only 2 minutes until TL can play for the Dragon Soul. And, of course, there's still Baron on the Rift that teams can happily play for. For TL, this is such a free objective to start up.
Yeah.
Finishing the objective might take a little bit longer, but certainly doesn't cost them very much to tank it.
And Frozen Heart does come through. That has been completed. I also love the itemization, the mythic choice here for CoreJJ. Going towards the Locket just makes sense instead of a more aggressive option in this game. You know, your job really is just heal for tactical, keep them alive. The Locket, even if Jizuke does get a really good angle and a multi-man ult, will deny a lot of that damage coming through. You know, and if you're closing the gap enough to hit multiple people, you're probably close enough to get exhausted too. So it's definitely a tough game to play out for EG. And they are going to have to get some deep vision. And they do have a couple little angles. You know, we're looking towards this this next dragon fight. They have this ward. They have this ward. You know, those are kind of their deep TP options, because you really do need, you know, that TP flank coming through from the Renekton, trying to find that back line to be able to punish this Ezreal and just take him down immediately. And with the Gargoyle Stoneplate now completed for Impact, he's going to have more of an ability to kind of throw himself into the middle of the fight, try to tank up a tremendous amount of that with that huge shield, heal it back up with the Empowered Q, with the Gore Drinker, and really try to make it work for the team.
Well, can they get tactical? That's the question that seems to be very challenging to answer. Team Liquid, though, all ready to re-engage. Transcarin, though, found one. Tactical going to get stunned up. And the Devour comes in late for CoreJJ, but the Senna ulti's going to charge on through. Tactical low, but not dead just yet. Galio ulti a little short, as Team Liquid have successfully kited out the initial attempt, but Tactical going to get jumped on there by Impact, but Impact may have gone too far. Now Igna diving in with the rest of the team. The front line looking down at Tactical. He just can't get in at all, and Danny will take a big bit of poke, but Armeo and CoreJJ now trapped in the Dragon Pit as EG look to keep turning. Armeo will escape over the wall, but EG, they get the kill there.
They get the kill. That's huge, and they do have the Senna to try to heal this back up. Armeo has been great with smites, though, in his career. He has his flash, he has his smites, so he has the ability to try to look for the steal. EG are going to peel it out, and it looks like, seeing the positioning of Armeo on the map, he's not even going to try to go for it. Of course, EG do not know, but they will successfully stave off the soul from Team Liquid, and that was a really good play. I mean, it was a trade of flashes from Impact and Tactical, but again, Tactical kind of getting engaged on initially, and then Impact piling through to push him out and split him off from the rest of the team, allowed them to actually kind of section off some of these frontliners and just kill off Jenkins.
Yeah, EG going to have to find, I think, more looks like that. Again, it is very hard to punch through the front line and the protection Ezreal has, but if you can isolate him or force him out of the fight, I don't really have that much damage left. Like, Lee Sin is more about tanking this in disruption than he is pure damage. Gwen can do a lot of work, but that takes a while, and Jenkins is pretty fragile, especially without cooldowns. So even though Team Liquid kind of have everything set up nicely, EG do at least grab a dragon off and keep the soul back. The good thing for TL, though, is that it's very low cost to just give up that dragon, because it doesn't mean much for EG, and it means a lot for you.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where once your opponents are at soul point, you've got to show up every single time and fight for it, and they have the option to trade, right? You're sitting on 3 dragons, you go, all right, I'd just rather take a tower. We don't have the angle here. Whereas EG has to try to fight every single time, and that can be very difficult if you don't have that proper setup. Impact has the wraparound here onto Jenkins. We'll see how this goes. Fully charged passive for Jenkins.
Not a 1v1. Nico is coming down to the bottom side of the map. Jenkins doing a lot of damage. Now maybe thinks about turning it around. Jizuke, is he going to arrive too late? The Ignite is down. Jenkins looking to make it happen. Flash, pop, blossom. Great Sonyas out of Jenkins. Now going to be followed by the TP, and Jenkins is making it work. Their Impact still the one they're going to chase here as Armeo's coming down as well. Oh, CoreJJ out of the Abyss of OG go, but Impact over the wall he is as Tactical finds the blast cone and will get the kill there, but how much time did they buy? Not enough. Impact throws his life away, unfortunately.
It's Gwen's world. You're just living in a pastry as Impact gets destroyed there. I talked about the scaling early on in the game. That was through so much shielding. That was the Gargoyle Stoneplate shield, the Steric shield, you know, the bonus health there on the ulti, and it just looked like nothing. And now EG over here trying to stop this Baron, but they're engaging.
Mayo finds the ulti point blank. The rest of TL going in though. Devour there for CoreJJ. Impact still dead for 25 seconds. This is a 5v4. Jensen making it happen. Kicks Svenskeren in, and that's the kill they might be able to get. But Sven pops the ulti and lives. Now Jizuke finding the counter route there. Senna ulti over the top as well. Jizuke going golden there, but he's not going to live as Tactical is able to find that kill. And now Team Liquid, they can go to Baron.
Jizuke just didn't need to go back in. You know, the survival there from Svenskeren was great. The fact that he got away, he was who they were looking for. Now Tactical's just gonna kill him off.
That's a good kill for Tactical there. CoreJJ here as well. Tactical, he's the one playing bodyguard now. Ignar getting kited out. Danny getting exhausted. Nothing they can do. Impact roaming up as well. Baron still happening, but don't worry about that. It's a triple kill out of Tactical there. Maybe making a quadra there as Impact just doesn't have anywhere good to go. Into the base gate he will be. But Jensen going to try and slow him down. The Baron does go over to Team Liquid as Jensen and Impact in a very elongated fight. But Jensen, I think, just going to have to be rescued. Pops up the Cranky Bee. He's still trying, I appreciate it, but I don't think you're going to kill Renekton there, buddy.
Fight. He's like back to full health.
All right, now he has the shield again. I think Goldrinker got popped. Jensen's still fighting. Who's up in 2 seconds? It's Jizuke. Jensen's had enough. He's going to leave the base.
What is Lee Sin sustain, man? He's like full health, just fighting under the Nexus towers there. TL, though, they get the Baron, they push it in, take down that inhibitor tower, and they are cruising now. That was probably the last major objective they really did need. EG had been fighting back and forth, but they got the pick. You know, Impact tried to look for that aggressive play. He loses out on the bottom side. Jenkins fighting his way out of this, and this is where, again, I think EG just kind of goes a little bit too far. The initial play is actually pretty good. They do force Armeo out. He went too early. Then Jensen goes in, looks for the kick flash. The ulti from Xin actually keeps him pretty safe, right? So he pops that down. He's able to flash back out himself, but they're just on a different page. Jizuke is looking for the re-engage. Look at the positioning of his rest of the team. They're all retreating. And then once he goes down, I mean, if you still had that and you just have to buy out these next 10 seconds to Renekton TPs back in, and you have those abilities, you can probably dissuade the Baron, right? Or at least potentially stop them from doing it. But as soon as Jizuke is down, there's no flash on Sven, there's no ult on Sven, so they can just move forward and actually take these fights very, very aggressively. And TL does that, grabs himself the Baron, knocks down that mid lane tower, and now pushing on all sides.
Yeah, really good play by Tactical as well, right? Just using his body to interrupt the jungler from maybe entering the Baron pit, so it made it easier. Impact and Jensen are at it again, but I think we'll pan down to the bottom side where Tactical is trying to finish off the siege. Still going, huh? Impact's going to walk back around as Tactical is going to get rooted there. Danny there following up, and the damage is pretty big. CoreJJ, no Devour just yet. There it is. Nicely timed there with the center ulti coming through. And now Jenkins diving into the backside there. Galio trying to save him, but Jensen assassinates Danny with the squad by his side. And now Jenkins going to take out Jizuke, and Impact is going to be left for dead under his own tower as Team Liquid look to be cleaning up this game.
Yeah, that should do it. Team Liquid piling into the base. They can end through bot lane. They've got the Baron minions. And despite all the turmoil for Team Liquid, they're looking good here today.
Yeah, looking like a nice one here. Team Liquid, ooh, going to play with their food a little. Ignar getting poked into the Nexus. Tactical. Remember, you're someone's fantasy pick. Don't throw it all the way into the fountain. TL trying to make it happen, but they'll take the Nexus instead. And Ameo feels like back to business here.
Yeah, playing very well on stage here. Not phased in the slightest. The level 1 there for EG was great. And you can also see, or excuse me, against EG was great from TL. You know, getting that first blood up on the top side. TL continued to play aggressive, continued to look for plays, you know, had very good control over the game. And EG just really failed, I think, to coordinate on their engages. They never really had that super effective Nico ultimate with the flanks coming in at the same time. It almost felt like Jizuke was more looking for plays while the rest of his team was not on the same page. You know, it did seem, unfortunately, to be the case there. But Team Liquid should be very happy about their performance. They won out largely in the laning phase. They controlled the side lanes. The Gwen got to a point where she was just unstoppable in that 1v1. And Tactical really could not be touched as far as that Israel. It just took too many resources for EG to ever get back there.
Yeah, I think Tactical did a good job for the most part, like playing aggressively, but obviously was put in a position where he was allowed to do that, right? That is one of the better Ezreal games you can ask for, right? When there's all these physical ADs, the mage you're playing against can't easily dive you at all. Like maybe LeBlanc or something can find an angle and all-in you. Maybe Syndra catches you with a stun and all-ins you. I think Tom Kench makes that tricky regardless, but like Nico just felt so difficult to play in this game. Even though I liked a lot of what happened in the lane, it didn't necessarily fit like the diving attitude that EG often have.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think that the lane went great. You know, he got the solo kill. He was actually, you know, winning in the 1v1 as well as far as the push. He got a play. Svenskeren was there for a counter gank that looked great. You know, a lot of that did work, but they just weren't on the same page. You know, I think the pick could potentially work, but some of the problems that you're referencing here, it's all physical besides the Nico. So really all Tahm Kench has to do is, because Ezreal is actually itemizing for armor, like he's going to be able to stay safe largely against those champions, you just have to deny the Nico ult. So you almost don't even have to use your Devour or Exhaust on other champions. You can pretty much save it specifically for this one combo that Nico can look for, because Nico is not a high sustained DPS champion. She hits the root and she one-shots you with Q ult or nothing is going to happen, right? So they played really well around that, and Core JJ can save the Devour for these kind of key moments, deny that. And besides that, really, Tactical can keep himself safe.
Yeah, I mean, he literally frontlined for like most of those later stage team fights because he knows that no one can really do anything. And that's the kind of like, that's the position where when you pick Ezreal and that is true, you're like, yeah, we did the right thing in draft this game. Like, Ezreal's, I think, very powerful, but not always super powerful. And in fact, he's also a player of the game. Good work, Tactical, being the pog there. I think for me, the tipping point was the Baron defense. Like, continuing to play aggressive in a spot where you should be. Like, it's often wrong for Ezreal to shift in. That was the correct time to shift in to kill Svenskeren.
Exactly. And I mean, it's something Hai was actually talking about on the desk, right? You know, you can't just play to never take damage. That's not actually the correct way. Of course, there is a line to walk because marksman players will very quickly tell you, but I'm going to get one shot. And yes, that can be true, but it's about tracking cooldowns, right? If the cooldowns are not there to really punish you for it, you want to be taking some damage. You want to be baiting people forward. You want to be, you know, getting the maximum DPS out, not just standing max range, shooting little Qs out every once in a while.
Yeah, no one's here for medium DPS, that's for sure. But for now, we are going to head over to the stage and join Dash and Armeo for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time, here with Armeo after a sweet victory on a Friday. Just coming into the LCS, obviously under unideal circumstances. Santorin experiencing some health issues, and we wish him the best in that recovery. But at the same time, not an unfamiliar situation for you at this point, most notably having to come in during the playoffs for Team Liquid. So I'm curious just to get a little background for you. At what point did you know you were coming in? What did the preparation this week look like in terms of transitioning back into the LCS?
Yeah, I knew about maybe 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah, I played some morning scrims, like not the whole scrims because I had to play some academy games. Yeah, I played scrims before my academy matches as well. So, because I played Wednesday, Thursday, I played the 5 scrims. And then, fortunately, our academy match was at 5 p.m., so I was able to play both matches and the scrims that day. So I had like 2 days of scrims, basically, about that. And like maybe like a 3-day notice, which is what to expect when there's health issues, obviously. Like, obviously, it's not going to be a super long time of notice.
Okay, so a few days to kind of whip into shape. I'm curious what the conversations were like in terms of what is the expectation of you in this role? You know, for yourself, what are the differentiating factors between yourself and Santorin as players, and how does bringing you into the roster change the ultimate approach of the team, if at all?
I think we have a lot of similarities. I think Santorin's really good. I guess I'm good too in that case, but
you must be.
no, but I think Santorin's like fantastic, and he had great form, so it obviously sucks. I think there's a huge difference in how we play. I maybe played a bit more greedy, especially in academy, not like in a negative greedy way, but just like a lot for myself.
Absolutely.
And it's a bit more of a middle ground on LCS. So, and then obviously in academy, I contributed a lot to communication and stuff, which I still do on the LCS. Like, I'm told to keep talking and saying things I like want, need, etc. So overall, it's not super different, I would say. Just like playing with different players, basically.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to this game in particular, Evil Geniuses feels like one of those teams that's very hard to nail down, right? They have the opportunity to have pop-off games from players like Jizuke in the mid lane. Danny himself has been an absolute star of a player throughout. So for yourself, what was the approach in this one? Was there any particular holes within Evil Geniuses' game plan that you felt like you could target as a jungler?
The game went pretty, I guess, like as expected from my view. Obviously, I haven't watched like that many of like I haven't watched very closely because I'm not in the LCS usually.
Right.
So it's not super important to me usually. But I knew they'd play around mid, which you could definitely see in the games. Like when we ganked mid, it was definitely a bit in by
some dicey moments.
Yeah, like they were immediately there, which is like kind of expected. So we kind of played into that. But like, yeah, they mainly play around mid top, which you could see, and they kind of have Balling just playing for like a scaling position. But I think our draft was positioned well against like all the elements they had. So I like the game we had.
Now, for yourself, without knowing exactly for how long you're going to be in on the LCS stage, what do you hope to accomplish? Like for yourself in this kind of tumultuous period for Team Liquid as a whole, we're trying to recapture some of that dominance that took you guys to the LCS finals last split. How do you feel you can service that ultimate goal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know how long I'll be playing. I mean, I honestly, I hope Santorin can play because I really do think he's been playing super well. And I talked to him a lot, and he's a really nice guy. But with the time I have, I mean, I just want to play well for myself and the org, do well in the games, win the games, just give them the best chance wherever I stop playing, whenever that is.
Yep.
You know, so just basically just play the games well and just do my job.
Do well in the games, win the games. Seems like you checked both of those on your list.
Very
today.
complicated.
Hey, man, sometimes it's just as simple as getting the wins on the board, and you
Yeah.
did exactly that here today. So congratulations on that victory, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
From here, we're going to a break. When we come back, it's 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. We'll see you there.